Today as well, following our usual tradition, we're going to look at a video that feels different from the very beginning. A video whose uploader claims it isn't easily accessible on the regular internet, and that finding it had its own separate story. That claim alone is enough to put the mind in a state of expectation for something unusual. In this video, we're faced with images of a forest, an environment that is naturally mysterious, quiet, and full of unknowns. But the key point is that up to this moment, it's still unclear what exactly happened in this forest. There's no clear explanation, no solid information that can be relied on with certainty. The person seen in the video has become one of the biggest questions themselves. Who is this person? Why was he filmed? And most importantly, is he still alive or not? The user says that the more they searched for information about this video, the less they found. It's as if the video was deliberately hidden in deeper layers of the internet, far from the reach of ordinary users. This lack of information has made the atmosphere surrounding the video even more disturbing than the images themselves. Throughout the video, nothing is explained directly. No clear sound to guide the viewer. No text to clarify what's going on. Just the image, the silence, and a heavy feeling that slowly settles in. A feeling that keeps repeating the same question in the viewer's mind. What exactly happened here? The fear in this video isn't sudden or shocking. It's a fear that builds slowly, with every passing second where answers become fewer and questions grow more. In the end, as always, the judgment is yours.
Tutorial time. So today it's time to do a YouTube tutorial. And I'm super excited because I love to get subscribe when people subscribe and like. So I'm gonna pick the perfect tutorial to do today. What's it gonna be? Today's tutorial. Okay. This is the tutorial now. This is a can. This is my YouTube. This is my YouTube account. Our tutorial. And our tutorial shows people how to weatherize a hole. First thing, step in the tutorial, take a weatherized can.
The next video was shared by someone who makes a very unusual claim, one that, if true, pushes the entire story into a completely different territory. This person says that for a long time they had been seeing a man around where they lived, a man whose presence seemed perfectly normal at first, with nothing particularly strange about his appearance or behavior. But when they mentioned this to their neighbors, they were met with a shocking response. The neighbors told them that the man they were describing had died years ago. That single sentence was enough to completely change how this person looked at everything they had seen before. From that moment on, they say they never saw the man again, as if the very idea that he might be a ghost caused his presence to vanish. But the story doesn't end there. Sometime later, completely unexpectedly, a camera was on and this video was recorded. A brief moment, but an intensely controversial one, a moment that once again raises an old and unsettling question. Are some things only visible as long as we don't doubt them? What makes this video more disturbing isn't the image itself, but the backstory behind it. The idea that someone interacted for a long time with a person who, according to everyone else, no longer existed. That once they became aware of that fact, the sighting stopped entirely, and that only at the very end, just once, a camera managed to capture something. This is one of those videos that can't be easily dismissed, but also can't be judged with certainty. Some people say everything can be explained as a misunderstanding or a visual illusion. Others believe awareness itself may be what cuts off these kinds of encounters. In the end, as always, the judgment is up to you. But the real question is this: if you found out that someone you'd been seeing for a long time had actually died years ago, would you still trust what the cameras show you?
What makes this case truly frightening is the thought that if the cameras hadn't been there, this presence would probably have gone completely unnoticed, and that idea alone pushes the fear beyond the image itself. It strongly echoes a video we previously covered on Echo TV, the one filmed in Argentina, where a person at a medical clinic suddenly realized they weren't alone and that someone or something was inside their car. That video was so strange and unsettling that it went massively viral, and to this day, people are still debating what it actually showed. What makes this case truly frightening is the thought that if the cameras hadn't been there, this presence would probably have gone completely unnoticed, and that idea alone pushes the fear beyond the image itself. It strongly echoes a video we previously covered on Echo TV, the one filmed in Argentina, where a person at a medical clinic suddenly realized they weren't alone and that someone or something was inside their car. That video was so strange and unsettling that it went massively viral, and to this day, people are still debating what it actually showed.
Estamos en este momento en el microhospital, escuchamos un golpe y nos dimos vuelta porque dijimos, bueno, ¿quién está entrando? La cuestión de que no hay nadie atrás nuestro. Y miramos dentro del auto y dijimos, oh, pues el auto, ¿qué mierda es? Lo peor de todo es que no queremos salir. O sea, no, un miedo, la puta madre. Lo peor de todo es que se mueve adentro el auto y no hay nadie. O sea, ahora vamos a ir a controlar el auto. Pero parece como si fuese un reflejo. La puta madre. No, boludo. Ya, salimos rápido para que vean que no es mentira. Mamá, la piel de gallina, hermano. Piel de gallina. Cagazo. Nadie. Nadie. Un montón. Es un montón. Mierda. Y encima nos mira la puta que te parió. No, chabón. No. Desapareció. La concha de...
The next video comes from a user who insists with complete confidence that a sound heard in their neighborhood was entirely unprecedented, something neither they nor anyone around them had ever experienced before. A sound so unusual that it first caused confusion and then quickly turned into fear. The user explains that at the very beginning they tried to treat it casually and find a logical explanation, maybe a car, maybe some ordinary nighttime noise. But as time passed, it became increasingly clear that this sound didn't match anything they were familiar with. Its source was unclear, its rhythm felt wrong, and the intensity and atmosphere it carried didn't resemble any typical urban or local noise. What makes this more unsettling is that the sound wasn't heard just once. Its repetition at specific times made the user feel they were dealing with something outside the normal pattern of neighborhood sounds. That realization pushed them to start recording, either to analyze it later themselves or to ask others for their opinions. After the video was shared, reactions quickly split into two camps. Some people argued that no matter how strange a sound may seem, it ultimately has a technical or natural explanation. Others said the feeling of this sound is not something that can be easily dismissed, especially considering it came from a neighborhood known for being quiet and eventless. From an Echo TV perspective, cases like this demand careful skepticism. Audio recordings are notoriously deceptive. Wind interacting with structures, distant industrial machinery, pressure changes, animals with unfamiliar vocalizations, or even audio compression artifacts can all produce sounds that feel wrong to the human brain. Our ears are especially sensitive to irregular rhythms, and when the brain can't identify a source, fear fills the gap. At the same time, we can't ignore a modern reality. Eerie sounds are now incredibly easy to fabricate. Simple audio software, sound libraries, or spirit box-style applications can generate unsettling noises that feel organic, random, and deeply disturbing, even when nothing unusual is happening at all. Still, not every case can be dismissed instantly. The real tension here doesn't come from the volume or sharpness of the sound, but from its absence of context. Hearing something without knowing where it comes from or why it repeats is often far more disturbing than seeing something clearly. This is one of those videos where the fear doesn't live in the recording itself, but in the unanswered question behind it. And as always, we leave the final judgment up to you.
The next video looks completely ordinary at first glance. A simple image of a man standing in front of a peephole or camera, and it appears as if another person is standing directly behind him. A scene that, if you scroll past it quickly, doesn't seem strange or concerning at all. The man in the video is named Scott. Up to this point, everything feels normal. But this is exactly where the story takes a disturbing turn. Because when Scott is asked about the video, he states with absolute certainty, "There was no human being behind me." Scott insists that throughout the entire time he was completely alone, not just at the moment the video was recorded, but from the beginning to the end of the walk. He says no one was behind him, no one was nearby, and he didn't hear footsteps or sense another presence in any way. And yet, the image tells a different story. Something that looks like a person, but the more carefully you look, the harder it becomes to confidently say that it actually is one. This contradiction between what the camera shows and what Scott claims with confidence is what makes this video unsettling. Because if Scott is telling the truth, then whatever appears behind him in the footage isn't human. The figure has no clearly defined face. Its distance doesn't feel natural, and its presence doesn't align with Scott's account of being alone. That's where the real fear lives, not in a jump scare or a dramatic moment, but in the idea that the camera may have captured something the person himself was completely unaware of. As if the lens noticed a presence that Scott's eyes and mind never registered. Something that only revealed itself after the footage was reviewed. From an Echo TV standpoint, skepticism is unavoidable here. Videos like this can often be explained through reflections, depth distortion, motion blur, digital artifacts, or even the brain's tendency to complete vague shapes into human figures. In an age where AI-generated imagery and subtle edits are incredibly easy to produce, ambiguity alone can no longer be treated as evidence. And yet, this case doesn't fully collapse under simple explanations. What gives it weight isn't the image by itself, but Scott's insistence, the calm certainty that no one was there. No footsteps, no awareness, nothing. If the video is fake, then its creator deserves credit for how effectively it creates doubt. And if it's real, then it reminds us of something far more unsettling, that cameras don't share our assumptions, our memories, or our sense of safety. In the end, as always, the judgment is yours. But here's the real question. If you saw a video proving you weren't alone while you were absolutely certain that you were, would you trust the footage or your own memory?
Each of these videos could be faked or artificially created, but at Echo TV, we continue to pursue the truth in an unbiased way. If you're looking for real fear, you can subscribe so this journey to uncover genuine footage can continue.